Hi everyone, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are working quite aggressively into the groin area, hopefully getting ourselves into an assisted split by the end of the class. Because we have to work so deeply into the groin and the hip flexor area, I want you to please work mindfully, listen to your body, work within your range of motion. Take a modification if you need to, and at any time, if the stretch into the groin becomes too intense, please cut back, bring yourself into recovery, and fall back in. When you're ready, pause the stream if you need to. You ready to set up? Let's hit the mat. I'd like you to set up for today's class, standing in a narrow mountain, heel toe in, connecting your big toes and your ankles. And as you root through the feet, I want you to think of allowing your inner thighs to rotate out, wrap in towards your bum, and focus on that little stretch that you'll start feeling. Just on the inside of your hip flexors, on the inside of the hip bones, allow that little stretch to radiate out, thinking of wrapping towards your bum as you drop the hands softly at your side, tucking your tailbone under, pulling your belly button in, and focusing on connecting to the groin area right from the get-go. Softly float your hands to your hips and bring your right knee up to 90, giving me a little release into the ankle joint. Long line through the spine as you play. Change the direction of your circular trace. Still your ankle and bring the movement into the knee, thinking of stirring a big pot with a big ladle as you start lubricating through that joint. Change the direction of your circle. Come to stillness and give me a big circular trace through the hip joint. You can tap out on the mat with your foot if you need to, or keep the whole limb hovering off the mat. Change the direction. Come to stillness along the midline of the body, and then think knee up, knee to the side, tapping out on the mat in between, or keep it hovering depending on how your balance is feeling today. Come back to stillness along the midline of the body, shake it out, find your narrow mountain. Think of dropping the fingertips at your side and wrapping around through the inner thighs into the glutes, tuck the tailbone under, feel that stretch in the groin area as you drop your fingertips down towards the floor. Float your hands softly to your hips, bring your left knee up to 90 and begin releasing through the ankle joint. Change your direction, rooting through that supportive side. Still the ankle and begin warming up your knee joint. Change your direction. Still the knee and bring it into the hip. Keep moving your trace in the same direction. Opening up and thinking of that blood supply that you want to bring to the pelvic area. Change. Come to stillness, give me a little shake out. And then think knee up, knee to the side, tapping out on the mat or hovering the whole limb off the mat. Give me 2 more. Come back to stillness along the midline of the body, shake it out, and heel toe out, coming into a horse position. Just outside of hip width distance apart, feet are softly splayed out. Brace your hands on your hips, tuck your tailbone under. So from the side, don't stick your bum up. Tuck your tailbone under, scoop. Find that connection through the pelvis. You're going to bring it up onto the toes and reconnect to the mat, either keeping your hands on your hips or pushing both palms together into a prayer-like position and finding a nice connection that's also going to help for your balance through the chest and the arms. Keeping your prayer hands or floating them out to T, you're going to take a lunge to the side and come back to the center. Warming up, thinking of stretching along the upper portion of your hamstring and into the groin. Come back towards the midline of the body. Feet together just inside of hip width distance apart, or as narrow as you can. Interlace the hands behind your back and give me a little tip over tuck. Focus on weighting the crown of your head down towards the floor and getting as much stretch along the back chain of the leg, and think of that wrap into the back of the groin area of the legs. Gently bend the knees, uninterlace the hands, place the fingertips on the mat, and come to a thunderbolt position with the knees together and the heels together. Give me a fist on each hand and place those fists just inside your hip bones. Take a big breath in, and on the exhale, you're going to think child. Folding over your fisted hands, think of trying to dig into the hip flexor and the lower belly area as you try to connect the crown of your head to the mat and stay here for a couple of breaths. If you're struggling to reach your forehead to the mat, maybe take a block, place the block on the floor and lean your forehead into the block. Play with the dimensions of the block, giving yourself as much assistance on the mat as you need. So find the diameter that works for you. Hold your modified Mandukasana. Then we're going to change it up slightly. Place your hands on the mat in front of you, more or less shoulder width apart, and open up your knees as wide as you can. Trying to line up your knee and your ankle on the straight line and have your arch connected to the mat or the floor behind you. Bring the weight down onto your elbows, palms facing flat into the mat, and gently sway your body weight back and forth. I'm going to give you a side view. Keep your current orientation on the mat. Line up your knee and your ankle. Give me a straight back line, belly button softly pulled in. Focus for me on just warming up in the beginning, gently swaying back and forth, but more work on that back sway. So trying to hold the back sway a little bit longer than the forward stroke. If you need to, you could always place a block or two on the floor in front of you, maybe underneath your elbows if you're needing a little support and you can't quite get to the floor. So use the modification that works for you. Open up that groin area progressively. From here, you're going to come into a modified child pose. Think of floating your big toes together. You can bring the knees in a little bit closer if you need to. As you sit the weight back, bend your elbows, try to overlay your hands and rest your forehead on the back of your hands, or use a block and just come into an assisted child. Play where you're comfortable. As you peel up, you're going to come into a floating frog position. Think of coming onto the haunches, all the weight on your toes and your heels connected with the knees splayed softly out to the side. Think of using your lower abdominal, so pulling up from the pelvis towards your belly button line to find a floating balance. Then zipper up all the way from your ankle along the inner thighs towards your belly button to come to a soft standing float. Weight still just on the toes. You're going to rinse and repeat that movement, either stopping waist height or coming all the way down on the floor. If you are in the southern hemisphere, if you're in South Africa at the moment, it's really cold. If you're up north in Europe, maybe your weather is a little bit warmer. But if you are in a cold climate and you find there's a little bit of creaking in the joints, don't worry about it. Just work within your range of motion. Let's do two more. And I want you to end standing for me and find your way back into that little horse pose. Shake it out if you need to. Find your horse, feet just a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. Tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly button in, float your hands to prayer, push into your prayer hands as you give me up and down on the heels. As you play, focus on trying to connect to getting to as much blood supply into the groin area as you can. 2 more. You're going to either keep your hands in prayer or open up into T and just float softly to your side as you play. As you stretch out to the one side, think of opening up along the back chain of the leg into the back area of the groin. Step back towards the midline of the body, heel toe in, interlace the hands behind your back and fold forward, giving me a soft little tip over tuck. Weight the crown of your head down. Try to get as much strain through the back chain of the legs as you can and keep the belly button softly pulled in. We're going to find our way into Bekasana. Bend the knees. Connect into a little kneeling frame. Give me a fisted line, placing those fists on the inside of the hip bones. As you fold forward, using block or no block, try and release that little tension from the hip flexor and at the same time get a nice little massage into the lower abdominal cavity. We're going to open up into that modified frog line from here. Place your hands, palms down on the mat, and open up through the legs. Bring those knees as wide as you can. Check that your knee and your ankle is lined up. Find your way onto the elbows, and then start your gentle sway forward and back. The back stroke is where the active work and open into the groin area happens. So that's where your focus is. Use the forward stroke as you release, and the back stroke is your active work, trying to get as much blood supply into that groin as you can. Try not to collapse through your shoulders. And as always, use a block if you need to, if you're struggling to connect to the floor. Give me 2 more strokes. End pushed back if you can and hold for at least 5 counts before we float into a modified child pose. Think of floating the big toes together. You can bring the knees in slightly if you need to. As you push back, elbows go out to the side of the room, overlay your palms, and think of resting your forehead on the back of your hands. Use a block if you need to. Play where you're comfortable. Give me at least 2 more counts here. And then as you peel up, you're going to take a rotate on the mat, facing the front edge of your mat, and you're going to open up into a modified head to knee. Extend your right leg, bend the left leg, placing the sole of the foot on the inside of your right thigh. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, fold forward to try and bind to the outside of your foot as you think nose to knee. If connecting to that leg is not an option for you, maybe reach for a strap, a belt, or a hand towel, looping it around your foot and floating your elbows out to the side of the room. Find the stretch that's working for you. Open up and get as much length through the back chain of that leg as you can. Try not to tense up the leg for me. As we come into the stretch today, I want you to focus on giving me length in the hamstring and try to lengthen through the quad at the same time. Try and lengthen as much as you can through the top section of your leg. Don't tense up, relax. Peel back up along the center line and find your way into a soft butterfly line. Soles of the feet together, wrap a hand around each foot, and then bring the soles of your feet together. Tucking your heels in as close to the perineum as you can. Give me a soft little flutter and focus on just relaxing and releasing through the hip flexors and the groin. Still your butterfly line. Tuck the left heel in as close to the groin as you can and stack the right leg in front. Coming into an easy sitting. Take a big breath in, and on the exhale, fold forward, trying to connect your palms or the palms and the elbows to the floor as you nod your head forward. If you're struggling to connect to the mat, use your block. Use the block in any dimension and just gently lean in to the block. Play where you're comfortable. As you connect your palms and your elbows to the floor, if you're nice and low, I want you to push back. Think of that little frog pose we played with earlier on when we were swaying back and forth. Use the back stroke, so push back through the palms and weight your bum into the mat and feel that delicious stretch into the groin and the back of the hamstring on the right. Peel up along the center line, take a big breath in and rotate softly to the right. One hand on the mat behind you and grasp opposite hand to the outside of your thigh. Inhale, come back to the center line. Exhale, take the rotation in the opposite direction. Length through the spine as you play. Come back towards the center line and float back into your butterfly line. This time, placing the feet together first, overlaying one hand over both sets of toes, and then overlaying one hand on top of the other. Tuck the heels in as close to the perineum as you can, and just focus on finding the back line that works for you, but focus on opening through the groin. Drop the knees as close to the floor as your body will allow, and think of that little stretch through the hip flexors and a beautiful blood supply rushing in through the pelvis and the groin. We're going to bring it into a half lotus line on the right. Tuck the left heel in as close to the perineum as you can, either staying in easy sitting or grabbing that foot and tucking into the half lotus line, bringing your right heel as close to the inside of the left hip bone as you can and resting the foot atop your thigh. Place the right palm on the inside of the right knee. Push the knee away as you softly rotate and look over the back shoulder. Focus on getting as much opening through the hip flexor and the groin on the right side of the body as you're able to. So don't worry about how close that knee is coming to the floor. Just focus on getting blood into the groin on the right side of your body. Take a big breath in and softly fold forward. Use the block if you need to. Try and connect to the mat. At the same time, allowing that front foot to just give your lower viscera a nice little massage. See if you can hang here for another 5 breaths. Peel up softly along the center line and rotate towards me as you open up the legs and come into a wide-legged seated straddle. Open up as wide as you can. And just gently give me a forward fold, either just leaning forward and connecting your fingertips to the mat. Preferably, I'd like you to find your way onto the elbows if you're nice and low to the floor. Flare your elbows out to the side of the room, overlay your palms, and see if you can rest the top of your forehead on the back of your hands as you brace into the heels, bringing your chest as low to the floor as you are capable of. If you need to, use one block or even 2 blocks as a little bit of an assist, and just find the lean in position that's happening for you today. Close your eyes, take your focus in, give me a soft brace into the feet, and really feel that opening happening through the groin area. Five more breaths here, then we'll find our way to the front of the mat after we've released through the hips. Gently peel up along the center line. Bend one knee just a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. Replicate on both sides. Place the hands on the floor behind you. Drop both sets of knees to one side as you look over the opposite shoulder. Inhale, come back to the center line. Rinse and repeat. Let's do one more drop to each side before we find our way to the top edge of the mat. Tuck into an almost kneeling-like position on the mat and take a step forward with your right leg. Place both sets of fingertips on the floor behind you. Reach back for your left foot and tuck the foot in as close to your bum as you can. Wiggle out on the front foot so that you've got knee over ankle, either resting your right hand just behind your knee joint on the right and lengthening as you hug that back leg in. If you've got the balance on the mat and your back knee is not aching too much, you can reach back with both hands and tuck that foot in as close to your bum as you can. Focus on not tensing through the top of your thigh. Try to lengthen the top of your thigh so the quad relaxes. Try to keep your glute, your bum, and your hamstring relaxed at the same time. Try and give me as much length through that back leg as you can. Softly let go of your foot. Open up your front leg and float the right hand to the inside of that leg. Open up your right foot slightly to the side, a little bit wider than hip width distance apart so that your hands are comfortably stacked underneath your hips. Wiggle your right foot forward, knife edge the foot, and lean into a soft modified lizard, almost as if you wanted to bring your chin line over the top of your mat. Focus on the blood supply that's coming in through the pelvis and the groin as you lean forward, and keep that belly button softly pulled in. Stay here with your back knee on the floor, or tuck your back toe under, bring the knee up off the floor, and just open up gently by gently swaying your body back and forth, focusing on as much work through the back stroke as you can. Use the forward stroke as your release and the back stroke as your active stretch and opening into the groin area. As always, work mindfully. We're going to find a soft pigeon line on the right from here. Gently bringing that right leg in, lining up the knee and the ankle in a straight line, or tucking in closer to the perineum as you relax the lead leg to the floor. Release the back knee, release the back foot, and slide the back leg away. Find your way onto the elbows, either staying on the elbows, just dropping down and bringing the chest up off the mat, or floating your elbows wide, stacking your palms, and resting your forehead on the back of your palms. If you need a little bit of an assist, you can place the block on the floor in front of you and gently lean into the block with your forehead. Find what works for you, but try and get as much blood supply into the pelvis and the groin as you can. Give me 5 more breaths here if you can, and then we'll work a modified sage line, floating the right leg up to the ceiling first. Peel up out of your pigeon, placing both palms on the mat, stacking underneath your shoulders, tuck the back toe under, bring the knee up off the floor, and step back into a plank line, stepping the feet together along the midline of the body. Look down, check that your big toes are framing your nose. You're going to flip over into a side plank on the left, floating your right arm up to the ceiling, bending the right knee and seeing if you can grab hold of the big toe to come into extension. If that's not happening, as you flip over, bend the left knee, float the right arm and leg up to the ceiling. If you can, bend the right knee, reach for your big toe, and see if you can give me a modified bind. Try to stretch the back chain of that right leg into the groin area. Find the sage line that's working for you today. Step forward with the right leg stacking underneath your hip. Step up the back leg. Give me a soft little forward fold for a second or two. And then gently float the right leg behind you as you creep your fingertips as close to the left leg as you can, coming into a soft standing split, dropping the crown of your head down to the floor as you float the right leg behind you. Think length through that right big toe. Softly step the feet together along the midline of the body and gently peel up along the center line. Think knee to nose on the right. Take your middle index finger and thumb. See if you can give me a lock around the big toe on the right. Bringing that leg into extension and holding for at least 10 breaths. If you're struggling to connect to that foot, use your strap, your hand towel, or your belt. Just loop it around that right foot and hold onto the strap with your right hand. Left hand soft at your side or braced on the hips or T-shape it. Do what feels natural for you. Focus on opening up through the back of that right leg. Reconnect to the mat. Come into a kneeling frame. Step the right leg forward. Place your hands softly on the floor and find your way back into a lizard line. Right arm to the inside of the right leg. Open up that foot softly to the side. Wiggle it forward. Knife edge it. Find your lean in position. Readjust your back leg and focus on that nice opening through the groin area. Then think of bringing that right knee in. Reach for your block and place it underneath your pelvis on the right. Wiggle your right foot closer towards the center line of the body. Wiggle the foot forward, knife edging the foot, and try to bring your body line into a side split, placing that block. Let's do a high one for the first one, underneath your hamstring area on the right, placing the block where you need the support, either keeping your fingertips connected to the mat as you gently lean forward. If you feel comfortable enough and open enough through the groin, creep your body weight back. See if you can float up to place both hands on your hips. If coming into the supported side split is a no-go for you today, give me a modified monkey god. Thinking of bending your back knee, think knee over hip, and just give me a soft little stretch on the lead leg, bringing your right toes up to the ceiling. So playing in your monkey god or finding your way into an assisted side split, trying to keep a soft back knee, fingertips on the mat or hands on your waist. Play where you're comfortable. Reconnect your hands softly to the mat. Drag your lead leg up, bending the knee and connecting the big toe and the ankle. Bring your back knee in slightly. Think of reaching with the left hand for the left foot. Wiggle your front foot, find your sense of grounding through the mat, and come up into a little quad stretch. Placing your right hand behind the right knee, or reaching back and hugging both hands around your foot. Remember, don't bunch up the top of your back leg. Keep your quad soft, keep your hamstring soft, keep your glutes soft on the back leg. Think as much length through the top chain of your back leg as you can. Relax the back leg to the floor. Think of finding a soft lizard line once more. Through that front leg, just give me a soft lean in, readjusting and wiggling out on that back knee as much as you need to, either staying in lizard or coming into half monkey guard, or finding your way back into that supported side split. Wiggling your front leg forward. As you come into your supported split this time, Maybe you can drop down a little bit lower through the block. Place the block where you need the support, either keeping your fingertips connected to the mat or coming up higher and placing your hands on the hip bones as you come into your supported side split. Play where you're comfortable. Gently feed your lead leg back up. Feed the block out of the way, place it to one side, and just gently bring both knees together, sitting back on the heels. Give me a fist on each hand. Place those fists on the inside of your hip bones and gently fold forward, coming into a modified frog. Mandukasana. We're going to rinse and repeat this whole sequence on the left. Gently peel up along the center line of the body. Tip your body weight softly to the right. Extend the left leg, bend the right knee, and place the sole of the right foot on the inside of the left leg. Using this strap, if you need to, you're going to loop it around your foot as you fold forward and come into a head to knee stretch. If you have the range of motion, try and place both hands on the undercarriage of your left foot as you fold forward and hold the stretch. Wiggle around, get as much opening and blood supply through the groin area as you can. Try to relax the hamstring, try and relax the quad. Get as much length through the top of your left thigh as you can. Float back up along the midline of the body and find your way into a butterfly position. As you come into your first butterfly, grab a hand to each foot and then bring the soles of your feet together, giving me a soft little butterfly flapping or floating action through the knees as you relax and release through the groin. Still your butterfly and tuck into easy sitting with the left leg in front. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, fold forward using the block if you need to. Trying to connect your palms and your elbows to the mat. Push down through the palms and sink as much weight into your bum bones as you can. Focus on that delicious stretch into the groin area and the back of the left leg. Keep your belly button softly pulled in. Peel up softly. Take a big breath in and rotate to the left, placing one set of fingertips on the mat behind you and grabbing opposite hand to opposite leg. Inhale, come back along the center line and take a twist in the opposite direction. Find your way back to the center line and float back into your butterfly. This time, feet together first. Grab hold of both sets of feet with one hand and then overlay the opposite hand over your first hand. Tuck the heels in as close to the perineum as you can and just softly fold forward, thinking of getting as much blood into the groin as you can. Make your knees heavy. Allow the weight of your knees to just open up as much as your body wants to play today. Wiggle around or hold the stretch. We're going to tuck into a half lotus line with the left leg on top. Take the right heel, tuck it in as close to the perineum as you can. Grab hold of the left foot and tuck into your half lotus line. As you settle in, left hand to the inside of the left knee. Rotate and look over the back right shoulder as you push that left leg down as close to the floor as your body wants to, opening up through the groin area on the left. Keep your belly button softly pulled in the whole time and keep lengthening through the spine. Take a big breath in. Using block or no block, connect to your mat as you fold forward. Push softly through the palms and sink as much weight back into the bum bones as you can, getting more blood supply through the groin area on the left as you do so. Give me at least 5 more breaths here, then we'll come into a wide-legged seated straddle. Gently peel up. As you open up the legs, rotate to face towards me, opening up those legs into a nice wide V. Try to creep your fingertips forward, making your way onto the elbows. If you can, flare the elbows out, stacking your palms and resting your forehead on the back of your palms. If you need to use your block, use the block in any dimension, depending on how much of an assist you need on the mat. Give me at least another 5 breaths here. Peel up along the center line. When you're ready, bend your knees, connect the soles of the feet to the mat. Drop both knees to one side as you look over the opposite shoulder. Rinse and repeat to the other side. We're going to do at least 1 more drop to each side, focusing on opening up through the groin area and releasing. Then we'll find our way back to the front of the mat, coming onto the knees in a kneeling frame. Step your left foot forward, knee and ankle more or less in a straight line. Drop your hands to the floor. Reach back with your right hand and see if you can grab hold of your right foot. Readjust your front foot if you need to as you peel up along the center line, either bracing your left hand palm down just behind your left knee or floating both hands behind you, grabbing hold of that foot and tucking it in as close to your bum line as you can. Don't tense up that back leg. Lengthen through the top of your thigh and lengthen through the back of your thigh. So the quad is soft, the hamstring is soft, and the glute is soft on the back leg. Give me as much length as you can. Release the back leg to the floor and set up a modified lizard line. Bring the left hand to the inside of your left leg. Open up that left leg to the side so that your hands are comfortably stacking underneath your hips. Front foot out at 45, wiggle it forward and knife edge the foot, leaning into the stretch as if you were trying to hook your chin over the edge of your mat. Keep opening through the groin area. Stay here with your back knee connected to the mat or tuck your back toe under, bring the knee up off the floor and gently sway your body weight back and forth. Use the backstroke as your active work. 5 more breaths here, then we'll set up a pigeon line, leading with the left leg in front. Bring that left leg in, lining up the knee and the ankle, or tucking in closer to the perineum. Relax the back knee, relax the back foot. Walk your body weight back. Hips nice and stacked to the floor. Find your way onto the elbows using a block if you need to. If you can, flare your elbows out to the side of the room. Try and relax your chest to the floor as you think forward to the back of your hands. Focus on just getting as much supply into the groin and the pelvis as you can. Belly button softly pulled in the whole time. See if you can give me 5 more breaths here. And then we'll set up a sage line, floating the left leg up to the ceiling. Find your way back onto the palms and step your legs back into a plank line with the feet stepped together along the midline of the body. You're going to rotate right, stacking one leg on top of the other, bending the top leg, reaching for your big toe, and coming into extension, holding onto the toe, or bending the bottom knee, extending the top leg, either just floating the top leg and arm, or bending that top knee, reaching for your big toe, and giving me a modified line. Find what works for you, but try to really lengthen through the back chain of that left leg into the groin area. Step up towards the middle of your mat, trying to stack underneath your hip on the left. Step up your right leg. Coming into a loose forward fold, float your hands back as you gently kick up the left leg behind you, coming into a modified standing split. Drop the crown of your head down to the floor and try to lengthen through the back toe. Try to keep the back chain of your right leg as relaxed and lengthened as you can. Step both feet together. We're coming into hand to big toe. Peel up along the center line. Reach for your strap if you need it. Think knee to nose on the left. Taking your middle index finger and thumb. Grab hold of the big toe and come into standing hand to big toe A, or loop the belt around your foot and use it as a little bit of an assist. Keep lengthening through both sets of legs. Right hand softly at your side or braced into the hips or extended out into T. You could even lean into a wall or a piece of furniture if you need to. As you come out of it, shake it out and bring your weight back onto the knees. You're going to come back into a lizard line, leading with the left leg in front this time. Step forward, left hand to the inside of the left leg, open up that leg to the side, wiggle it forward, knife edge it, and find your lean in position. Readjust your back knee if you need to. We're going to come into our first assisted split on the left, or you can just bring it to a little monkey god hamstring stretch. Bring the left leg in, closer to the center line. Bring your block a little bit closer. Let's use a high dimension for the first one. Wiggle the left foot away towards the edge of your mat. Bring the toes up off, stretch out, placing the block where you need the support behind the hamstring, either keeping your fingertips connected to the mat or walking your body weight back, almost as if there was a little piece of string, pulling the crown of your head up to the ceiling, and see if you can brace on the thighs for me. Hold the stretch. If coming into the assisted split is not happening for you today, just give me back knee stacking underneath your hip, extend the left leg and float the toes up to the ceiling. So find the stretch that's working for you. Creep your hands back to the mat. Try to bend the left knee and drag the foot to the mat. Bring your back knee in slightly. Reach with the right hand for the right foot. Readjust your right foot if you need to. Floating your weight up. Right hand on the top of your thigh, or float both hands behind your back, trying to reach for the foot. As you tuck the foot in as close to your bum as you can, focus on softening the top of your right leg. Lengthen through the quad, lengthen through the hamstring, relax your boot. Don't tense the legs, soften and lengthen. Let's come into that assisted split one last time. Find your lizard line on the mat. Either just holding your lizard or coming into your monkey god stretch. Or bring that left foot in. Maybe flatten the block by one more dimension. Creep the foot forward. Try to bring it onto your heel and push the foot away. Keep your back knee soft on the mat. Place the block where you need the support. Either keeping your fingertips on the mat and gently leaning forward, or creeping your body weight back and try to stack on your hips. Give me at least 5 more breaths here if you can. Bend the lead leg, reconnect the foot to the mat. Place the block gently to one side. Bring the back leg up. Reach for your right foot. Tuck back into your last little quad stretch. Either keeping your hand on the back of your, or rather the top of your left thigh, or squeezing that foot into your bum, focusing on length through the top of that back leg. Relax the back leg and sit back, finding your way back into a butterfly line. A hand grabs hold of each foot. Tuck into your butterfly line and give me a soft little flutter, just relaxing. Hold your butterfly. Tuck into easy sitting, leading with the right leg in front of the left. Using block or no block, connect your hands and your elbows to the floor as you fold forward. Push through the palms and sink your bum bones back. Somebody standing behind you, dragging your hip line back. Focus on that opening and that blood supply on the right leg. Peel up. Come into a gentle twist on the right, or grab hold of the right foot, tuck into the half lotus, and then come into your twist, pushing the right knee softly towards the floor as you come into the twist. Find the twist line that works for you. Big breath in. Give me one more forward fold, either staying in half lotus or executing on easy sitting. Push back. Give me weight into your bum bones. Gently creep your fingertips forward. Untuck your legs behind you. Open up the knees a little bit wider than your mat. Line up your knee and your ankle. Come back into your little open Mandukasana frog. Try to push your bum bones back towards your heels, or play with the movement dynamically, rocking gently forwards and backwards. Do what feels most comfortable for you, either holding or playing dynamically. Softly float the big toes together. You can bring the knees in a little bit closer if you need to. Flare your elbows out to the side of the room. Stack your palms and come into a modified child. Walk your body weight back. Cross the feet behind you. Sit back on your bum. Find your way back to your butterfly line. One hand grabbing hold of each toe. Flutter your butterfly, release into the groin. Still your butterfly. Tuck into easy sitting, leading with the left leg in front. Big breath in. Fold forward. Use the block if you need to, in any dimension. Push into your palms and your elbows. Sink the weight of your bum bones back. As you peel up along the center line, take a gentle twist to the left, either standing easy sitting or tucking into the half lotus line with the left leg on top. If you're using the half lotus line, I want you to push that left knee softly away from you as you come into the twist. Float back towards the center line and give me one more forward fold, either from your half lotus line or rinsing and repeating your easy sitting forward fold. Push into both palms, sink the weight of your bum bones actively back. Gently drag your body weight forward, coming onto the knees. Open up the knees a little bit wider, as wide as you can. Find your frog position, lining up the knee and the ankle, elbows connected to the mat. If you can, splay your elbows out to the side of the room, overlay your palms, and push back your bum bones towards your heels as you connect your forehead to the back of your hands and hold the stretch. If that's too intense for you, stay on the elbows and just gently sway back and forth. Work mindfully, listen to your body, play where you're comfortable. Peel up gently. Float the big toes together, knees open nice and wide. Push back into a modified child, trying to flare your elbows out to the side of the room and rest your forehead on the back of your stacked hands. Give me 5 more breaths here, then we'll work in one more little Mandukasana frog. Softly peel up along the center line, bring the knees together, bring the heels together. Give me a fist in each hand, place a fist on the inside of each hip bone. Big breath in, give me a soft forward fold, using the block underneath your head if you need to, or just come back into child pose if you feel like an alternative. Think of digging into that little tension spot on the inside of your hip bones and giving your lower viscera and belly a nice little massage. Give me 3 more gentle breath cycles here. Peel gently back up along the center line. Float your hands into a soft prayer. Namaste to you all. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me today. Please remember to give me a thumbs up to like this class. Shoot me your comments so I know how you experienced the class, and ensure that you are subscribed to the channel. I will see you all for playtime on the mat on Monday. Have an amazing weekend. Just chill and relax. Until I see you again, please remember to keep it light.